Hi folks, how you doing? This is Iqbal with NVIDIA Daily Analysis. In this video, we'll discuss NVIDIA recent drop and try to make an assessment on further downside potential using technical charts, fundamentals, and forward PE. We'll also take a look at SMCI and AMD stocks. Now, let's get started. You see NVIDIA stock chart for today on your screen. NVIDIA opened at 121.13. It made a high 123.41. It made a low 121.03 and it closed at 122.67. That is 1.31% down. As we expected yesterday that today Nvidia would move slow and there was some downward potential for Nvidia. And still I believe that Nvidia would maintain its sideways movement or maybe a little more drop can happen. We'll discuss in more detail when we take a look technical charts. Now moving on, last 5 days Nvidia is down 2.75%, last 1 month Nvidia up 6.67% and last 6 months 154.66%. As you see that from last week to this week Nvidia went down. It was about 160% when we looked at last month. And regarding my position, again today I did not buy any Nvidia or SMCI stock. As I mentioned yesterday, I am waiting Nvidia to go further down so I can buy more Nvidia stocks. I already have Nvidia stocks bought at 125 and 120 sometime last week. Now let's take a look forward PE for Nvidia, SMCI, AMD and Palantir. I updated this table with the latest forward PE. Nvidia at this point is at 45.43, a little lower than yesterday, but if you compare with the last 6 weeks, Nvidia forward PE kind of lie in the middle. The highest we saw was on 614, that was 48.84. Based on the forward PE, still there is some room for little more drop on Nvidia. Palantir is a 78.27, comparatively higher than last 6 weeks. SMCI 26.82, a little higher than yesterday. But remember, yesterday I mentioned that around 780 was a good buy, and I said there is some chance that SMCI might go up. So, as we noted yesterday, SMCI went up probably about 2%. As you see here, so even more than 2%, SMCI went up about 3%. Probably SMCI was a good buy yesterday around 780, as I mentioned yesterday. And AMD at this point is 47.35, higher than yesterday. But at this point, the forward P for AMD kind of lie in the middle. But I guess that there's some room for AMD to go further down because it's comparatively higher than Nvidia at this point. Now let's take a look historical split data for Nvidia. So you see in this table at this point Nvidia is up about 29.19% from the announcement date. And this is fourth week after a split became effective. As we discussed yesterday in the last split cycle, third and the fourth week Nvidia experienced some slowdown. So same behavior I'm expecting in this split cycle as well. As we already noted that in the third week Nvidia went down 3% and this is the fourth week Nvidia is showing some weakness. So probably about 2 or 3% more room for Nvidia to go down. Or there is a chance that Nvidia can bounce back on Friday. So even if that bounce back, I'm not expecting Nvidia to go too high on Friday. So probably fourth week should end about 27 to 30% from the announcement date. And one cycle prior, we saw the same behavior. Nvidia was down in the fourth week, probably about 3%. Now let's take a look technical charts. You see 90-day hourly interval chart for Nvidia on your screen and also the MACD chart. As I mentioned yesterday that MACD chart is showing weakness in the NVIDIA trend, and there is some possibility that NVIDIA might go down today. So that's what we saw today. And still, there is not enough momentum on NVIDIA to take it further high. But tomorrow, I'm expecting NVIDIA should either move sideways and little more drop might happen on NVIDIA. Now let's take a look RSI. RSI at this point on hourly interval chart is at 43. So that shows that NVIDIA is neither oversold nor overbought. But looking at the movement here, you see that RSI is also showing some weakness on NVIDIA trend. NVIDIA is probably waiting for something new that can add some momentum on NVIDIA. At this point, all the news and the data is already baked in on the NVIDIA stock price. Now let's take a look Bollinger Bands. You see Bollinger Bands, the upper band, the brown color, and the lower band is a purple color. And you can notice that the gap between the upper band and the lower band is contracting, and that tells that not much activity is going on Nvidia at this point. It looks like similar to this behavior you noticed here. So Bollinger Bands was expanding somewhere here, but after that it went down. So similar behavior we can see here. So there is some chance, after a few days, Nvidia might start going up, probably next week or so. Now let's take a look Fibonacci levels. You see Fibonacci levels on your screen. I have the highest level at 140.56 and the lowest is at 93.91. As I mentioned yesterday, the next level of support was at 122.74, and today Nvidia was moving around this level. But the next stop or next support is at 117.23, and that's a very strong support level. It will be interesting to see if Nvidia can break that level sometime this week. But I have the feeling that it may not break this level. After touching or try to test this level, it may start going up. On the upper side, the resistance level is 129.55. But I just wanted to say one more thing. We do not need to get upset or nervous because that kind of behavior we see on Nvidia for last 2 3 quarters. Second month after earnings is always a slow month or some drop we see in Nvidia. Now let's take a look news regarding Nvidia. You see news regarding Nvidia on your screen. The very first one we should take a look is this one. That's about Mr. Powell. He says that Fed needs more evidence of falling inflation. That's kind of expected, right? We saw some decline on inflation, but we need more consistent data that shows that inflation is going down. So he's probably right. Another one regarding Mr. Powell that says trading at noon, Wall Street edges lower as Powell signals caution. This means that Friday data regarding employment will be very important. So, other than those news, I do not see anything significant regarding Nvidia. Let's take a look other AI stocks. So today the highest positive change is on AMD. That's 4.20%. That was kind of expected because AMD was trading lower since past few days. SMCI 3.06% up today. As I warned you yesterday that SMCI can bounce back. Apple 1.62% up, Amazon 1.42% up, SoundHound 1.29% up, Avago again 1.02% up. But I'm not gonna buy Avago at this point. I'm waiting for Avago to go further down. Microsoft 0.56% up, Palantir and Nvidia are negative today. So overall, the market was not too bad. We saw most of the AI stocks close positive today. Now, let's take a quick look on the economic calendar. So today, as we notice, Mr. Paul's speech, and he mentioned some caution. but no major development I see from Mr. Powell's speech. And tomorrow we have weekly initial jobless claim. And another thing tomorrow I missed yesterday was minutes of Fed June FOMC meeting. So they're going to release the minutes of the meeting that they had last month, and that will be important. Tomorrow I will give you a brief summary of the minutes of this Fed FOMC meeting, and also try to give you the impact assessment from this FOMC meeting minutes. And then Thursday, no data. Friday, we have the employment data. I'm gonna show you my spreadsheet tomorrow that will give you the historical trend and the future expectation. Next week, we have Monday, nothing much. Tuesday, nothing much. Wednesday, nothing much. Thursday, weekly initial jobless claim, and also we have the core CPI. So Thursday next week will also be very important day, and the core PPI on Friday next week as well. So I guess that's all about NVIDIA analysis and assessment for today and rest of the week. I hope you liked the video. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you more tomorrow. Take care.